What's going on, guys? I'm OT Lord Knives, and we're back with another forging video or blacksmithing video. So today we got some rebar, which is going to make it much easier for me to manipulate the steel. Instead of grabbing it with my tongs, I can just grab it with my hand, twist it over, and bang it at will. So the last time I was in the forge, made this knife right here. As you can see, it's not like the straightest. It's a little tilted off to one side, but that's fine because I live and I learn and I get better every time I'm in the forge. Today I am going to make a straight blade with an actual usable steel. Like this steel right here, if you cut literally 3 items, then it gets dull. So I want a steel that has a properly hardened edge, properly hardened steel, and let's make a good knife. And also today I also want to make a tang. First I did blade, next I'll do tang, and then I'll do handle on my next episode. Let's do it. Alright guys, I think the coals are hot enough. I'm gonna throw in the end of the rebar. Let's get her going. Alright, I think I'm gonna give it some strikes. It's asking for a striking. Huh? Huh? So I could feel the anvil just coming loose with every strike, and then finally when it did come loose I had to like reattach it with a whole bunch of screws. And while I was doing that, I ripped my shorts and yeah. Alright guys, so for the plan for today is I realized the other day that the way that my forge is built, I can't actually heat up this bottom part of the knife. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut off this part, reverse it, and then flatten this side. And then once that side's really flat, hot, I'll use my hammer and this chisel to chisel away like a little tang, which will then go into my very first handle. And hopefully I can make something proper this time. Let's do it. Well, this is the piece right here. I think I may have cut it too long, but we're just gonna go with it. hot now. Alright guys, so I hit it to my desired thinness. So now I'm gonna heat up this bottom side that's a little thinner and use this chisel for the first time. Well, so guys, I realized that my forge is ill-equipped to use the cold chisel on a piece of steel this big. I'd have to get a bigger anvil or a steel plate anvil, which is probably what I'm gonna get next, the steel plate anvil. It's essentially just a steel plate. But for now, I'm just gonna use my angle grinder and I'm gonna cut away a tang and cut away the blade profile. Then I'll throw it back in the heat, straighten up that tang a bit. And after the one side is tapered, then I'll quench it and put an edge on it. And I'll be happy with that. So, let's do it. Alright guys, I'm looking at this blade and I have the tang part ready, or I think that should be good enough. But now I'm looking at the blade and it's much longer than I originally expected, and I realized I didn't even know what I wanted to make. So first you gotta have a vision of what you want to make, and now I'm thinking I'm just gonna make like a spear point, like light camping knife. So I'm gonna cut all this part off and just get it into that like spear point right there, and then I'll be a happy lord. Alright guys, so I got the shape I wanted, and I know that this is going to be the bladed side. So I'm going to throw it back in the fire, taper one side, straighten out the back, maybe even straighten out the tang a little bit, and then quench it, put an edge on it, and then we're one step closer to a proper knife. So I tapered one side, but then it made my whole blade swedge up like that. So I gotta hop back on the angle grinder one more time. All right, guys, here goes nothing. Well, now we do the other side. So as soon as it's done cooling down after the quench, I throw it in the oven for 450 degrees Fahrenheit for 45 minutes, which helps soften the steel because it's too brittle after the quench. I really don't understand why that is, but I don't make the rules. This is the hard part. Alright guys, so I think that's going to do it for today. Unfortunately, I'm running out of daylight and I wasn't able to put a final edge on this. But what I do like is it's much straighter than my first blade. It has a tang, and I can tell from when I was grinding it, I think I hardened it better than I did on my previous blade. So on my next episode of Beginner Blacksmith, I will put a final edge on this and I will put a handle on it. This is it compared to my other knife, which doesn't really have a handle. It's just like a solid pound of metal. This one, much more elegant. It's kind of like a reverse Tonto shape. But I don't know. I feel like it's well hardened. And with a little bit of cleaning up, I think this can be a good blade. Alright guys, so remember, keep your friends close and your knives closer. I'm OT, the Lord of Knives. Stay sharp.